Welcome back to the Irish NFL show with myself, Noel Dowling. And today I'm delighted to welcome back to the show Buffalo Bills Hall of Fame quarterback, Jim Kelly. Jim, welcome back to the show. How are you keeping?
I'm not bad. Can't complain, except for, of course, Noel, that last game hurt in the heart, even though I haven't played in a while. My wife and two daughters are big, big Bills fans. Plus, of course, I still live in Buffalo. So, yeah, it hurt. But you know what? Personally, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Good, good. That's great to hear. And yes, as I was just saying to you there, it would have been a nice conversation had things gone a little different on Sunday evening. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. But Jim, talking about the game, obviously we will have to talk about it. Again, the Bills have a good season. They get to the playoffs and they come up again against this roadblock that is the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, having watched the game, what are your takeaways from the game, how they played and how the game generally went?
Well, of course, there's always things that you look back on and say, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done it. The only thing that pretty much ate at my stomach was the quarterback sneaks all the time. I mean, if you're going to do the push technique, you got to have a couple big guys behind you, not a running back or wide receiver trying to push Josh Allen to the first down. That was the only thing. It's like they had a good week to prepare for a defense when you came short yards and goal line, except for the quarterback sneak. They have more in their game plan. I don't know why they didn't use it, but unfortunately, as we all know, it came down to that and a couple calls here and there that didn't really go our way. But can't blame it on the officials. Only blame it on yourselves and learn from it, move on. But you know what? It gets a little old after you don't win. You're 0-4 against the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. So that hurts.
Yeah, no, I imagine it does. And as you mentioned, you kind of need to take it out of the officials' hands. You need to go and take care of the job and
Yep.
not put it in a position where that needs to happen. And you mentioned obviously that the short yardage and the sneaks with Josh Allen, it kind of feels like, Josh is such a big guy and generally he can run over anyone in front of him. It felt like they just said, look, 9 times out of 10, he's successful. We're just going to keep doing it. But it felt like the Chiefs defense and that Spagnolo defense were really, really ready for it. And at some point, maybe the Bills should have just looked to go away because I know at one point, Josh ends up going over the both lines to try and be successful and almost loses the ball in a fumble. So really, it feels like the Chiefs were ready for that move and the Bills were just stubborn and just saying, we're going to keep doing it till it works.
Yeah, I get it, and I totally agree with everything you said there. It hurts when you think, okay, they're going to do something else on this play, and then they do that. You think that they might come up with a play that you act as a quarterback. Josh, he's going to do it, and he steps up, and then comes back and throws to a tight end or something. Joe Brady has done such a great job this year game planning as the offense coordinator for the Bills. But I think this one they slipped a little bit. They should have more of a game plan for short yards and goal line. Even though in the past, Josh Allen, they have been very successful with that. But you got to have something to fall back on if that doesn't work. And it just didn't seem like they were ready for it.
Absolutely. And we look at the Bills this season. They have a really good season. Obviously, they win the division. They finish with 13 wins. But you mentioned earlier, like how it gets old after a while. This constantly coming up against this Chiefs team and losing. And when you look at this Bills team, obviously there were a lot of changes prior to this season, and people questioned whether or not these changes would work. They clearly did. But how hard is it now for Josh Allen and this Bills team to go into the offseason and to get up again and to try and do this again? Because we know it's very difficult to get to the playoffs. It's very difficult to get to the championship game. How difficult is it after year on year kind of being knocked out by this Chiefs team to raise yourself back up again? Because Josh Allen did look a little bit more down than we've generally seen him at the podium following this game.
Yeah, it hit him pretty good. I get it. I mean, I lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. We got there excited to get there, and boom, it hurts. It'll take a little while. It's something you don't get over just in a couple weeks. It's going to take a little time because, unfortunately, it's the same team. At least in the Super Bowls, we would get almost a different team every time. But the thing is, I think now they understand. Of course, they still do that how hard it is to get into a Super Bowl, let alone win one. And we're very fortunate to be able to do that. It's just going to take Coaching, general manager to bring some more people in that he thinks we might need offensively or defensively. But yeah, they've got to make some changes. But I'm proud of everything they've done. They had one heck of a year. I personally never looked too far ahead. I was really confident in the Bills this week. I thought for sure that they were going to beat Kansas City because Kansas City's good, but they get the breaks happening for them all the time. And sometimes you wonder why, but you know what? It is what it is. I know that's an old cliche, but the thing is, you got to move on and pick up the pieces and see what you can do next year and start all over again.
No, that's it. I mean, look at Sean McDermott. You talk about obviously coaching is a big part of trying to overcome this Chiefs team and just to get to a Super Bowl. And we look at Sean McDermott. Obviously, he's been there since 2017. He's got an impressive 86-45 record. He's won the East for the last 5 seasons. He's obviously a really good coach and he's built this team. But at what point does the same coach, the same year, the same ending, does the message maybe start to wane a little bit on players? Like, okay, this is what we done last year. This is what we done the year before. It's Groundhog Day. I mean, and that's not a detriment to or to talk down, McDermott's coaching. But at some point, do you just say, look, this is not happening, and maybe the message isn't getting through like it used to?
You know what? I'm not in a position to say what I think as far as how I feel. Coach McDermott, he's a great coach. There's no doubt about it. I don't know where, as far as they would look, because offense coordinator Brady has done a good job. Or defense coordinator has done an all right job. But you know what the bottom line is, Noel, is once you get on the football field, coaching almost gets shoved to the side. It's up to the players to make the play. If they don't make it, you can't blame anybody but yourself. Yes, there are parts during the course of a ball game where a coach has to make a decision. And of course, against Kansas City, it was a couple I thought maybe we could do differently. But you know what? If it works, it was a great call. If it doesn't work, you're going to get all the clutter behind you and everybody saying different things. So I don't know. I'm happy with McDermott. If they decide, and they're not going anywhere. He's a good coach, and I think that we just got to get a couple more players in here. And I was proud of what they did this year. Unfortunately, it came up short again.
No, that's it. And yeah, he is a top coach, and it's just sometimes you're just unlucky as a head coach and a quarterback. You're unlucky to come up against an era that has a team like the Chiefs or like teams where previously with Brady and Belichick's Patriots. Sometimes. But we talk about iron sharpening iron. That really should drive teams forward to really try and excel. But you mentioned, maybe a couple of new players needed. I mean, from your own experience playing, when you look at this roster, are there any one or two positions that stand out to you where, they really should focus there? That's an area where I think a little bit of concern. If they get that solidified, maybe we can make that extra little push next season.
Yeah, we have to make it a little bit, especially defensively. And I don't know where the part that they need to do most. I know our secondary is good, but they're not great. We need to get a good pass rush. We have not had a solid pass rush, even though a couple of guys are doing, Russo's doing a good job. Vaughn did all right this year, but the thing is, when you rush 4 players or 5, you got to be able to put pressure on quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes. You give him time to throw the football, he will find it. And if you're run blitz, that means you have to be playing mostly man-to-man coverage. So you have to have a lot of confidence in your receiver or defensive back that are able to cover these guys because, like I said, you get Patrick Mahomes time to throw the football, whether he's scrambling outside the pocket or staying in that pocket, he's going to beat you. And he beat us a few times this past week. And you know what? It's something that coaches, they work in the offseason, see where they have to get better. And then it's up to Brandon, being our general manager, to go and look at who's out there that we might be able to get, and maybe as a free agent or somebody coming out of college, a first-round pick, what we got to do. But our first-round pick is not till the end of the draft, end of the first round. So you usually don't get the great ones in, but you never know.
No, that's it. And you talk about draft picks, and one thing that's just jumped into my mind as you're talking about it. I mean, Is there any regret you think with the Bills having traded with the Chiefs and allowing the Chiefs to go and get Xavier Wardy, who then goes and has a good game on Sunday? Obviously, the Bills drop back, they bring in Coleman, who's a good young player. But did you kind of watch Wardy at the weekend and think maybe they should have just taken that move there?
Yeah, and again, you never know. I mean, I remember
Yeah,
when
of
Josh
course.
Allen
Yeah.
was drafted, nobody wanted him. And you saw the reaction because he's from a small college. Nobody recruited him to come out of high school, but you could see the athletic ability. And when I met him for the first time, when I went over to the practice, during rookie minicamp, I saw how he was moving around. I saw his arm strength. I knew if they put good people around him, he was going to be the guy we needed. And of course, if you get a good wide receiver, they lost Diggs, they lost another one. I can't remember his last name right now, but they lost two last year. And then all of a sudden you start to think, okay, who's going to step up? We've had guys step up, but I think we need that one speed, even though Shakir is pretty fast. If we get one more receiver out there, I think it's going to help us out a lot.
Yeah, and actually, you mentioned Josh Allen, and as a quarterback, we'll have to talk about him there. For me, I've said it all season on our show. He's my MVP this year. I just think what he's done for this Bills team. I mean, Lamar Jackson has been phenomenal and absolutely worthy of his in the conversation. But for me, I just think what Josh Allen does for this Bills team, how he brings them along with him, is phenomenal. Especially because, as you say, he lost a number of skilled players, and he still stepped up. Now, obviously, they all step up. He can't do it alone. But for me, he's that spark that really gets this team going. For you, obviously, you haven't followed his whole career, as you mentioned, from when he was drafted to now. How has he grown as a player and a person in the NFL and as a leader for this Bills team?
He's amazing. And that's why he's up for MVP this year, which I think he might win it. You never know. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks this year, but overall, what he brings this team is everything they've been looking for in 30 years. He's one heck of a player. But the thing is, Noel, one of the things that he brings to the team is not only his play on the field, but his leadership in the locker room. From what I understand, and I'm not in the locker room all the time to hear anything, he is amazing. And of course, off the field, he has brought so much joy to people off the field. He's a big supporter of Children's Hospital, which unfortunately my son spent many days and weeks in that hospital. But he's what you need to move on. He's a quarterback you want to be able to get the city going. He's done everything. Now we just have to get him over that hump and get him into one of these Super Bowls, and hopefully we'll bring one back to Western New York.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, look, for every team, I think it starts with the quarterback. And once you have that piece in place, and he is a very special piece, you
Oh,
can absolutely build from there. And they've shown, that this team is good enough. And maybe you just need that right day to maybe get the Chiefs again and to come out victorious. And Jim, I'll kind of jump across to the Chiefs now, just, as somebody, a Hall of Fame player like yourself, who's been there and done it. When you look at what Patrick Mahomes has done, I mean, this is his seventh season as a starter. It's his fifth Super Bowl, and the other two seasons he got to the AFC Championship game. I mean, what a phenomenal career this player has had. And then obviously in conjunction with Andy Reid, that tandem
yeah.
of Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, from somebody a rival looking from the outside in. How impressed have you been, and how good has this Chiefs organization been with these two guys there?
Well, number one, Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, it's hard to say that because he's only in like his seventh season, but just what he's shown everybody, his mannerisms, how he goes about it, everything that you want as a quarterback, almost identical to Josh Allen. They have Andy Reid is probably one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, McDermott's definitely one of the great coaches too, but I don't know why, but Andy seems to get those guys playing when they need to play and saying the right things at the right time. I respect him. I don't know him very well. I think I met him one time, but Patrick Mahomes is that quarterback that he's shown to be one of the best to ever played the game. I mean, only time will tell, but he's starting off about as good as you can get, and hopefully Josh will find a little bit way to spin it and make sure it starts happening here in Buffalo. That sounds pretty good.
No, that would be good because I mean, again, from a neutral for myself, somebody who's looking in, I don't support either team. I mean, it's fascinating to see these two young quarterbacks who could go for another 10 years head to head with each other. Now, obviously for the Bills, it would be nice for them to get a few more wins in the postseason. Obviously, they have beaten the Chiefs in the regular season, but it would be nice in the postseason. But again, when you have those two young players there, I mean, for the next decade, they could be trading back and forth. So that's really interesting to watch out for. And the last thing, Jim, just again, if once you get past the disappointment of the weekend just gone, looking at this Super Bowl coming up, how does this game look to you now? Do you think this could be a good game? Two different teams, I think you would say, but two very talented teams on both sides of the balls, each team. I mean, how do you see this game going? And are you just from a fan point of view, are you excited to watch this game?
Oh, without a doubt, I will be there. It's wow, it's going to be an awesome game. I was hoping it's going to be Bills and the Eagles because my son-in-laws came from that area, the Philadelphia area, so I was hoping for a little battle back and forth there. I've changed him into a Bills fan though, so Parker now is a Buffalo Bill fan. But the thing is, you got Saquon Barkley, who was right up there for the MVP award. He is having a year like nobody ever's had before. Just unbelievable. Hurts is doing a good job. And then you look at their defense. Their defense is one of the tops in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see what Spagnuolo and Andy Reid comes up with, especially offensively, what they're going to do because that secondary is pretty good and that line likes to pressure the quarterback. So we'll see what happens, but I'll tell you what, it's a game that everybody's looking forward to, including me. I wish it was the other way around. The Bills there, but they aren't. But I'll tell you what, I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, no, I certainly think it will be. I'm really looking forward to that myself. As a Bears fan, I don't get much postseason football, so I like to see good games in the postseason because, as I say, I don't get any to support myself. So as a neutral, it's good when there's some good challenges or good games out there. Jim, really appreciate you taking the time to come back on with us. We love having you on. I mean, if you want to let the guys know, is there anything they should look out for? Any podcasts or anything they should take the time to listen to?
Yeah, my wife and my daughter are on a podcast. As a matter of fact, I'm on it today. It's Immeasurably More podcast with Aaron Kelly. It's exciting. I mean, when I told them I was coming on here, they love it because I was in Ireland 2 out of the last 3 years. We spent some time, went up and saw where my great grandparents lived, went to Belfast, went all the way around, saw that where their house was. It was just such an amazing time. And of course, I played Old Head golf course, which is one of the most beautiful courses I've ever seen in my life. But you know what? I enjoy over there. Every time, I don't say cheers anymore. Every time I do it, a toast at Slancha. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Slancha?
Absolutely.
Slancha.
The only thing you're missing is the drink.
Oh, I'll have one later on.
I like that. And look, if you're ever back over in Ireland again, do let us go. Actually, no, we're talking now soon. There's a lot of hype that there may be an NFL game soon coming over here. So everyone is very excited about that. So who knows? Maybe it could end up being the Bills. We could see you over here. But Jim, again, thank you so much for taking the time. Guys, do look out for that podcast and do keep here with us. And we have plenty of content coming out between now and the Super Bowl. And as always, thanks a lot for listening and take care.
My pleasure, Noel. You take care.